Kia ora everyone and welcome back to Kiwi Investments. I have made a spreadsheet for you that will instantly analyze years of income and expenses and provide you with insight into your own personal finances. We will turn this lame bank statement you got from your bank into this interactive graph in a matter of minutes. Why is that important? Well, March has just gone by us, so that means the quarter of 2024 is now over. How are your finances doing? Most companies and all publicly traded companies know exactly how they're doing financially every quarter, and they are able to use this information to improve their financial performance. My question is, why aren't you doing the same for yourself? I don't want to waste anyone's time, so I'll say this at the start of the video. This video is mainly for people watching from New Zealand and Australia and mainly for ANZ and ASB customers. But if you're interested, stick around till the end and I'll show you how you might be able to use this spreadsheet with any bank. Alright, so how does it work? Step 1 is to download the 2023 and 2024 spreadsheet from the video description. You can download 2022 as well, but for this video, we'll just stick to 2 years. If you're banking with ANZ, you would download these ones up here. If you're banking with ASB, you would download these ones here. For this video example, we'll download the ANZ ones. And another thing we have to download is a separate Excel file called KI Bookkeeping. So there are 3 files you are downloading from the video description: 2023, 2024, and the KI Bookkeeping file. Step 2 is to go to your bank's website and download your bank statement in an Excel format. To do that with ANZ, once you've logged in and you clicked on your account, come up here to where it says export and then change the date to 2023 January 1st and the end date to 2023 December 31st and click export. And we're going to do that again for 2024 January 1st. And let's go to the end of last month, which is March, and export that. For ASB customers, it's very similar. You pick your date and then over here where it says export as, select CSV and that'll export it in an Excel file. Alright, now we have 5 Excel files downloaded. Sounds a bit crazy, but after we are done, you only need to keep the KI bookkeeping spreadsheet and delete the rest. Step 3. Now step 3 is to tell your computer that you got your Excel file from a trusted source. I'll explain that a little bit more. The 2022, 2023, and 2024 spreadsheet has something called macros in them. Macros are automated input sequences. Macros along with Excel formulas is how these spreadsheets are able to calculate everything automatically. Now it's worth mentioning, if we download something from an untrusted place and the file has macros in it, then it has potential to harm your computer. That is why, please, if you're giving this a go, please download the files from the video description and not anywhere else, such as the comment section. I'm saying this now because my channel has been targeted by scammers before. They copied my channel name and the logo and replied to people's comments pretending to be me, trying to get people to sign up to stuff. Now to show you that I'm not up to anything dodgy, these are all the macro codes which are in these files. By the way, these codes cannot run unless the Excel file is open. And for those that can read it, you can see that there are no harmful stuff in there. For those that can't read it, I'll explain exactly what it does when it comes time to using it. For now, all you gotta do is right click on the file, go to properties and click unblock here. Then click apply, then OK. Do the same for 2024 and 2022 if you downloaded them as well. If you don't do this, when you open the file, Excel will give you this warning saying macros are blocked because you haven't told the computer it's from a trusted source. And that makes sense because the computer doesn't know if I'm a trusted source. The people that's been following me for a while, hopefully you do by now. But if you still don't want to unblock the macros, if you're new to this channel, then I can't expect everyone to trust me, and that is fine. I built this spreadsheet in a way that you can still use it to get something out of it, but most of the new functionality will not work. I say new because some of you that's been following my channel for a while would have seen a similar spreadsheet before. But I've been working hard to improve it. Now version 2 is ready, with a whole lot of new features which we will look at soon. Alright, step 4 is to just copy and paste. Open up the 2023 spreadsheet. It will ask for a password. The password is KiwiInvestments with a capital K and capital I. The password is also in the video description. You can just copy and paste it from there as well. You might get this security warning. You need to click enable content. Next, open up your bank statement you downloaded from your bank and click enable editing. That's important. And I'm just gonna have it side by side. Zoom out a bit. Now you will recognize the headers on your bank statement matches the headers on the spreadsheet you got from me, and all you gotta do is copy and paste accordingly. So you don't need to copy past the amount column here. The easiest way to do this is to click on cell A2 here, hold down shift and press the right arrow key until you get to column H, which is the amount column. Then while you're still holding down shift, also hold down the control key and press the down arrow. That should now highlight everything. Copy it by pressing Ctrl C, or if you're using a Mac, replace the control with the command key. Come over to my spreadsheet. I'll make it a bit bigger again. Click on cell A2. It should already be selected if you haven't clicked on anywhere else, and just paste it by pressing Ctrl V. Okay, before moving forward, let's talk about some problems you might run into. Let's undo that. First, if you get this message when you try to paste it, you either haven't clicked on cell A2 or you have copied past the H column here. Secondly, when you paste it, the colors change into this ugly, hard to read white color. Then that means you have forgotten to enable editing before copying it. This is important in order for the spreadsheet to work properly, so it's not just for the visual purposes. Alright, moving on. When you have done it right, it will look like this. This spreadsheet will then automatically categorize, calculate, and show your income and expenses on a month-to-month basis. Let me explain that. So if you buy fuel at different petrol stations, like one day you buy fuel from Mobil Epsom and then another time you buy fuel from your BP, this spreadsheet will automatically calculate all of them together and show how much you have spent at petrol stations every month. So instead of telling you spent $40 on Mobil Epsom and $20 in BP during January, the spreadsheet will calculate them together and show you spent $60 in petrol stations in January last year. Pretty cool, right? Now this part right here, you can create your own categories. I have already made 2. So what this is telling the spreadsheet to do is whenever I shop at these shops, because sometimes I get my groceries at Countdown Mount Albert, back in say Mount Wellington, Countdown St. Luke's, and so on. I'm telling the spreadsheet to group all of those expenses into one and show it as groceries. If there are other places you get your groceries from, you can add them to the list here. I also did another one for fast food so that I can keep a close eye on it. You can add to it as well. Or if you're not a fast food type person, then you can delete it and create your own category. There are 3 more empty ones here to make your own, or you can delete these ones and create your own. And each category can have up to 10 different stores. Let me just undo all that. Now if you come down here and switch it to the other sheet, I'll explain this a bit more. In this sheet, you will see all your income and expenses grouped and shown month by month. It's organized from highest to lowest. At the top, we have the total income and total expense for the month, the net profit you made for the month, the percentage of money you basically saved. So in this example, I spent $725 more than what I earned for that month. And this bar up here will move accordingly. So if I saved 100% of my income, then this bar would be to the left, it would be green, and it would be all the way to the H right here. Right now it's red and it's over here because I spent 21.33% more than what I earned. This extra column right here shows how much the expense was worth your total income for that month. For example, 17.1% of my income in January went to groceries. So like I said, this shows month by month, and if you scroll all the way to the end, it shows all your income and expenses for the whole year. I made it very easy to customize the income and expenses. So if you look here, we see that 55% of my income went to John Doe last year. That's my landlord. I don't want it to say John Doe, I wanted to say rent. And there are some stores getting recorded separately because when you spend money at a store, the store name and the location name can get recorded on your bank statement. For example, we have Mighty 10 Mega up here and Mighty 10 Onehunga down here. Same with JB Hi-Fi New Lane and JB Hi-Fi Sylvia Park. And another thing is, I see that I have bought clothes from different stores. We have Politics up here, Just Jeans, Helen Stein, and Taro Cash down here. I want them all grouped into one expense that says clothes, so I have a better understanding on how much I spend on clothes. I also see that I have spent money at Bordello, Liquorland, Super Liquor, and another different Liquorland location. Again, when it's listed individually like this, it doesn't say much. But if we were to go back and change the name of those stores to liquor stores, then we will be able to gain a better understanding on how much I have spent on liquor. Okay, so right now we are at row 78 in the list of expenses for 2023. When you do this, you probably have more. When it's a long list like this, it's hard to stop and make sense of it. You might end up just gazing your eyes over it, and that's about it. But if we were to customize and group some of these expenses, then it would be a whole lot cleaner and easier to read and analyze. And we can do that very easily using this customized column right here, or the highlighted cells over here on the left. Now let me explain the colors a bit more. Let me start off with these dots over here. These tell you whether the transaction is being recorded as an income, expense, or not recorded at all. Green means it's recognized as an income. Red means it's recognized as an expense. And if you see an empty blue square like this, that means it is ignoring or not recording that transaction. By default, I had set it to ignore money transfers between your A and Z accounts. Because if you have a checking account, the chances are you also have a savings account with A and Z, and you would be transferring money between the accounts. And these are neither income or expense. But for whatever reason you want to record it as either an income or expense, maybe you have a joint account with someone and you want to record the money going into the joint account as an expense, then all you gotta do is change what's in the type column here from transfer to payment. And when you do that, you'll see the cell next to it gets highlighted blue. When that happens, change the blue highlighted cell to whatever you want to record it as. Then you will see that 400 is now being recorded as an income. Now, if we go back and undo that, and let's say you didn't change the name of this and decided to leave it as it is, then this spreadsheet will think anything with this name should be an income. That is why if you look down here, this $105, although it's an account to account transfer, is getting recorded as an income because you told it it was. So if you were to look at the review sheet now, it's showing this as a $505 worth of income, which is not right. I'm gonna go back and change this back to transfer because I don't want to record it. Now, what do these blue and orange colors mean? Well, we now know the dots here mean it's getting recorded. The highlighted blue cells over to the left represents the name it's getting recorded under. For example, if we look at the first transaction, it's getting recorded as a $55 expense and the name of the expense is Spotlight Manukau 13. So if we go over to the review tab, we see it here. But that's not what I wanted to record as. I wanted to just say Spotlight and merge with any other transaction I might have had at other Spotlight stores. To do that, just come back to this tab and change the name here. And that's all you have to do. But let me undo that because there's a more easier way to do it, and that's to do it all in this column. Whatever you type in this column is what the spreadsheet will record the transaction as. So if you type in Spotlight here, it'll automatically change it here, and therefore changing what it is getting recorded as. But one thing to keep in mind is that when you type something here, you can't undo it. But you can keep typing things on here. So why would you use this column? Well, it's all about speeding things up. It's easier to type stuff here and press enter on your keyboard to navigate this area, rather than moving your mouse over to the highlighted cells to change their names here. Hope that makes sense. I'm now going to do the first quarter of the year as an example to show you how quick it can be done. While I'm doing it, I'll explain a few more things about the spreadsheet. So do stick around, we still got a lot more features to cover. The first thing I'll do is set up a new category for myself because as you know, I have spent some dollars at different liquor stores, but I want them all to show up as one expense. And the name I want for that expense is liquor stores. And if we have a quick look at the end of the year in the review page, we see that the list of expenses have already gone down from 78 to 75 because all the liquor store expenses have been grouped into one expense now, and we can see that I have spent $138 on alcohol last year, which was 0.33% of my total income for 2023. So that was an example of using categories. Now let's try using customization here. These two income, I like the name already, so I'm going to leave it unchanged. Same with Frank Energy, which is my power company. The reason why I don't want to change it is because if I were to change my power company in the future, let's say I change to Meridian, then I would be able to see how much the change has affected my personal finances. Next, this is coming up as orange because it's telling me it's already been categorized. So if we have a look here, Countdown has been categorized into groceries, so I'm not going to change it. You can change it if you want to, but I don't know why you would. Next, this is how Amazon Prime charges appear. I don't like that. I wanted to just say Amazon Prime, so I'm going to type that here. Change John Doe to rent, and this Escape Master thing was a birthday gift for a nephew, so I'm going to write birthday gift. Vodafone, I wanted to say one instead internet, and Nando's, I actually wanted to say takeaway restaurants because we do eat a lot of fast food from these typical fast food restaurants, but we also eat from a lot of takeaway places, and I want to record them separately. Now next is the money I put into my Spreadsheet account. As you can see, it's getting recorded as an expense because the money is coming out from my bank account. Spreadsheet is an investing platform. This money is still mine, but in my Spreadsheet account. So it's neither an expense or an income just yet. So I'm going to click here and delete it so it won't be recorded as an expense. The next thing I want to change is rent. And then we have a few more that's already been categorized. This warehouse is missing an E. I don't like that, so I'm going to rewrite that here. The good thing about doing it all in one column is that it remembers what you type in, and often you only need to type in the first letter and it will know. Now this vet bill, I'm going to write dog because that's the way I want to track my pet bills. Now here's something interesting. The said petrol station is not getting picked up as petrol station. Now because we want to record this as an expense at the petrol station, we can actually change the name to another petrol petrol station that would get picked up easier. I say easier because Z is just one letter and I had problems getting the spreadsheet to recognize it. So what we can do is change this to BP, Caltex or Mobil. It doesn't really matter if you want it to be recognized as a petrol station, right? Oh, and one more thing about petrol station is that if you want the colors to change here, you need to type in space after the word. So Mobil space enter. Then the colors will change. The space is only needed for petrol station names. Everything else is fine. Now this is how Sky City wages come in. I don't like it. I want it to say Sky City. And that's the end of March. Ideally, you should be doing this at the end of every month because then you will be more aware of your financial situation going into the new month and you might be able to pivot accordingly. And it'll speed things up because if you're doing it monthly, you would spend less time trying to remember where some of these transactions came from. For example, can you figure out what this BBB might be? It took me a while to figure out that it was Bed Bath & Beyond. But if I would have done it monthly, then I wouldn't have needed so much time. Now I'm going to do the rest of the bank statement off camera just to make the video shorter. But before we get back to it, I should mention something about ASB just very quickly. When you download your bank statement from ASB, it will look like this. And if you open the ASB spreadsheet you got from me, just like with my ANZ spreadsheet, the headers should match up. So you ignore these details up here, including the headers, and copy from here. Don't forget about the keyboard shortcuts. Come over to my spreadsheet and paste it onto cell A2 and you will see it will work exactly the same way. Any transfers between your ASB accounts will be ignored. If you want to include them, change the type to either D/D for direct debit or D/C for direct credit. So D/D for money going out and D/C for money coming in. And don't forget to change the name of the transaction, otherwise the spreadsheet will think you want to record all the money transfers you've been doing. Now one other thing I want to point out about the ASB spreadsheet is that you may have noticed these cells don't get highlighted either blue or orange. Only these cells over here does. And that's on purpose because for ASB customers, I want you guys to only use this column here to customize and name your income and expenses. And of course, you can use the categories over here as well. The reason why I don't want you changing anything over here in this area is because ASB have a funny way of recording some transactions. For example, for direct credits, they like to put in D/C from and then the name within the same cell. And some transactions, they like to put the card number in the same cell as well. This would look really annoying and get in the way when it comes to analyzing. So an extra thing this ASB spreadsheet do is automatically get rid of these card numbers and DC form. For example, over here it says direct credit from Sky City Management Limited and direct credit from Ministry of Justice. But if you look at the review page, it just says Sky City Management Limited and Ministry of Justice. And if you have a look at that expense, it has gotten rid of the card number and it just says the warehouse, which is much cleaner and better. But if you want to change the name, the easiest way to do it is from this column. Alright, now if we get back to the ANZ example, I went and customized the whole year and I timed myself. It took me 13 minutes and 11 seconds to go through the whole year. That's just a little over 1 minute to do 1 month. So I'm sure you have the time to do this monthly. And like I said before, if you do this monthly, you probably do it faster because you spend less time trying to figure out where those transactions came from. Now, if you have a look at it after customizing the names, look how much cleaner and easier it is to read now. And it definitely paints a better picture. Things like, so last year I spent more on the Christmas tree than I did on my dental care. 2.45% of my whole year's income went to date nights. I spent more on liquor store than I did on birthday gifts. This is not my actual spending, by the way. I'm not that bad. But I wanted to add a liquor store example in here because New Zealand does have a not so healthy drinking culture. I don't think people are aware how much Kiwis actually spend on liquor. Anyways, we are not done yet. Another new feature I have added is we now have these buttons. Right now, if you click on these buttons, it won't work. It'll give you this pop-up saying we need to have the KI Bookkeeping Excel file open. And that's the one we have already downloaded. So if you open that up, you don't need to have it side by side. You just need to have the file open. I just have it side by side to show you what's going on. Now, if you come to January and click on the January button, look what it does. It copies all the income and expenses from January and places it on the table here. Pretty cool, right? Now, if you click on the February button, it copies the February income and expenses underneath here, separated by a blue line to show you it's a different month. With these buttons, we can have a whole year's worth of income and expenses transferred in a matter of seconds. So what's the point in doing this? Well, I'll show you. But first to show you, I'll quickly do 2024 off camera. Alright, I just finished customizing 2024. Now for some people, this might be enough. To see it month by month, people can use this to see where they can and would like to improve on. But these spreadsheets only do 1 year at a time. So if you use these buttons to copy the data all over to the KI bookkeeping file, we can then keep a track of all your earnings and spending since 2022 until you die. Sorry if that took a dark turn, but this way you can track how things change over the years. It will provide some cool insight to your own life. Now once the year is over and you're done looking at this and have copied all the data over, you can actually delete this if you want to, because all the data will be here anyways, and this is just a regular Excel file with no password or macros. You can even get rid of your bank statements if you want and just have the KI bookkeeping file for your record. Now let's talk about the KI bookkeeping file. But first, let's do some troubleshooting in case you run into these problems. Firstly, do not change the file name. This file has to be called KI bookkeeping because if you change the name and then try to use these buttons, it won't work because it won't recognize any other file. Second problem you could encounter is you can click these buttons more than once. So if you click on March again, it's going to copy the March data over again, and that's going to mess up your graphs we're going to use later. Now if this happens, there's a right way and a wrong way to delete this. The wrong way is to highlight the cells like this and then hit delete on your keyboard. When you do this, it's going to leave a gap. The next time you hit the button, it's going to think that there's still data here and paste it underneath. It doesn't look right, and it also messes up your graphs even more. So the right way to delete is move your mouse over here until your mouse cursor turns into this black arrow. Then click and hold to select all the rows you want to get rid of, and then right click and select delete. And the third problem you might run into is that you might accidentally click one of these buttons when there's no data in there. Now look what happens if you do that. But you already know what to do. Select all the rows and click delete. Alright, that's all the troubleshooting for now. Now if you come all the way to the top, you might have noticed that it says income test $1, expense test $1. This needed to be here for the first time when you copied some data over using the buttons. Once you have copied some data over, you can delete this line. So right click on row 2 and select delete. Alright, so in this page, there's quite a few ways to play around and find stuff. We have our running total up here. So far since we started recording our income and expenses, we have made $52,000, spent $49,000, and sitting at a grand saving of $2,600. You can use these drop-down arrows to filter things out. For example, let's say you want to look at a specific year. Let's say 2023. Then you have the same information as the 2023 spreadsheet right here. That's why I said you can delete that sheet after you're done with it. Now that's not all. You can identify trends over the years. So let's undo this by coming back here and click on clear filter. Now let's look at something like my internet. So if you come to expenses and you don't need to look for whatever it is you're looking for here, you can just type it in here. So in this case, it's internet. Now you see why I named it internet. And as you can see, they have started charging me $6 more per month. I don't have any insurance examples on this, but I noticed that insurance companies do this a lot too. So I might be looking for a new internet and insurance company soon. Alright, let's clear that, and now let's look at fast food. By the way, you can combine filters. So if we stay on fast food, we can also come here and check out how much we spent on fast food, let's say last year. So unclick 2024, and there we go. We spent $751 last year on fast food. Compared to this year, we spent $127 so far. So you do play around with the filters. When you see this symbol, that means there's a filter applied to that column. To clear it, you've seen me do it a few times now. Just click on it and select clear filter. Now let's go over to the charts tab over here. When you first come here, it might look like this. Click on any of these tables to select it. Then come over to where it says pivot chart analyze and click on refresh. And there we go. Looks nice, right? Looks like something from a company's financial statement. You have your year over year profits here, which is your income minus your expenses, and you get your year over year expenses as well, and your year over year income down here. We have only done one year and the first quarter of this year so far. Working with what we have, if you look at it, my profits last year were much bigger than this year. If you just look at January, you see that my income did improve slightly year over year, but my expenses jumped up at a bigger amount. And if you want to know why the expenses were so high in January, we can come back and use the filters to find out. So if we unselect all, open up 2024 and select January, and there we go. It was a combination of a new vacuum cleaner, a new TV for mom, and getting ready for an overseas trip is what contributed to the high expense amount. And if we come back to the charts page, guess what? We can also apply filters directly onto the charts as well. So if you want to see how well we are doing without a certain income, let's say you want to see it without the income from Ministry of Education, then just unselect that. And the opposite, if you only want to look at the income from Ministry of Education, then unselect all and select Ministry of Education. And you can do the same on expense chart and the profit chart. Alright, I have switched over to my own actual personal one now to show you how these filters work up here. So as you collect more and more of your data over the years up here will update automatically. So I've been collecting and looking at my data for 6 years now. I did drop the ball in 2021, but that's alright. Yours might start from 2022 onwards, but if you're with ANZ, it might start a quarter way through 2022 because they only provide you with data within the last 2 years. Now when you see a lot of data like this, you might still make sense of it or see a pattern, but if you want to filter some years out, it's It's easy. Just click here and now you can filter out some years. And this filter interacts with all the charts below. Now, if you want more interactivity, you can also download the PowerBI from Microsoft. Just as an example, you can set up an year-over-year profit graph just like the one my Excel file comes with. But with PowerBI, you can set it up so you can click on individual points on the graph and it will list all the income and expenses for that month. So you don't need to go back and use filters to find the data for that month. It can be done by one curious click over here. And you can also click on multiple points from the graph, search for stuff, and filter by years just as a quick example. I won't spend too much time talking about PowerBI because this video is already long and PowerBI is usually used to analyze and report large amount of data. In the future, if you have collected enough data, it might be a fun thing to look into. Alright, for those of you who might not be customers of ANZ or ASB, this is how you could still use the spreadsheet to track your finances. Some of you might have even signed up to a credit card from a different bank after seeing my cashback credit card video. So let's have a look at how we can use the ANZ spreadsheet to track the expenses on my SBS credit card. First, don't forget to unblock the spreadsheet. Now with SBS, they don't give the option of exporting your transaction in an Excel format. They only provide you with a PDF. So if your bank only provides you with PDF, then how do we get this data into our spreadsheet? Well, there is a way. First, open up a new blank Excel file. Then come over to Data and click on Get Data. Go to From File and click on From PDF. Next, navigate to where you saved your PDF and then click on Import. Then find the table that you want to import. I know the table that I want to import is Table 4 and then click on Transform Data. It'll open up a window called Power Query. Now over here, you can delete stuff that you don't want. So I don't want my card number showing. So I'm going to click on that and click Remove Column. And that's all I need to do for this. I'm going to click Close and Load. And there you go. You now turned your PDF into an Excel file. But we are not done yet because some banks show the debit and credit in separate columns. We need to have them in one column and have the debit in a negative number. So to do that, we're going to use a formula. Find an empty column and we're going to use an if formula. So what you do is you type in equal if the debit column equals empty, and empty is just 2 quotation marks, then I want it to show the credit value. If it's not empty, then I want the debit value times by -1. Close that off and hit enter. There we go. I know I'm speeding through this, and that's just because the video is already long. Next, these are the payments that I'm making. I don't want to see that, so I'm going to filter them out. And I also don't want the total debit and credit. Now let's open up our ANZ file and have it side by side. Now all you got to do is copy the dates and paste it on the process date. Copy the description or the details and paste it on details, and it already recognizes the categories. Then we're gonna get the dollar amounts, copy that and paste it onto amounts. Then where it says type, you type in payment and drag that all the way down. Let's have a look at it. And the only other thing that you have to do is for any transaction at petrol stations, you have to change the payment to FPOS, and FPOS is spelled EFT-POS, and that'll now recognize it as a petrol station. One more here, do the same thing. There we go, and that's done. That's all you have to do. It doesn't show the percentage here because there are no income on my credit card. Now, when you download the 2024 spreadsheet, the months after April will be locked. If you want the full year, you can get it by buying a membership of this channel. To buy a membership, click on the join button, and membership does start at $8 per month, but it doesn't have to be $8 per month. What you can do is buy a membership, download the spreadsheet, which will have all the months unlocked, and then cancel the membership. And if you like tracking your personal finances this way, then join again next year for the 2025 spreadsheet. That way you can turn this $8 per month into $8 per year. I have no problem with you doing that, obviously, since I'm the one that's suggesting it. But if you want to stay as a member for a couple of months to show your support, then I would really appreciate that. I want to say a huge thank you to Junior and Arotahi for being a member of my channel for over 6 months now. It's actually because of them that I'm even doing this video. Last time I did a video like this, it wasn't liked that much, so I wasn't going to do another one. But because of those two, I decided to revisit the spreadsheet and make it better for them. And then I decided to give it to everyone to try out for the last 2 years and the first quarter of 2024. If you do decide to become a member of KiwiInvestments and you do decide to stay, I do post random members only videos every now and then. They're just some weird what am I up to type videos. I'm not going to try sell you on that, but that's just another extra thing that I'm doing for my members. For full transparency, if you join, YouTube actually takes a 30% cut, so I'm left with about $5. So thanks for buying me a cheeseburger if you do join. Oh, I need to stop buying fast food. And as usual, anything on this channel is not intended as financial advice. It's just for entertainment purposes only. If you have any questions, do post them in the comment section below. I know we covered a lot. That's all for me today. Kakite, see you in the next video.